Well, hello there and welcome to Theme Park Euphoria. So for this video, I'm going to be talking about something that was recently leaked, of something that has been put into place at Alton Towers, most notably the former Ripsaw Saw at the Forbidden Valley. Now, I have actually seen a few other videos talking about this, but none of them do a good job at explaining exactly what the ride is and the actual history behind it, because there is a lot of stuff about it that I'd imagine many in the theme park community don't actually know about. So when I saw the leaks and what people were saying about this, I was just like, I've got to make a video about this. So that's the reason why I'm going to explain exactly what the ride is, the history behind it, and what the future of it could be regarding at Alton Towers. So for those who don't know, this was the photo that was recently leaked of a travelling fairground ride on the spot where Ripsaw was, which was the Huss Tupspin that was removed just before the 2016 season. Now, the ride in question is actually a Super Trooper manufactured by Windsor-based company PWS Rides. And before I get into the company itself, I just want to give a bit of history regarding the ride's background. So the ride was actually designed and built by David and Sam Ward in the 1980s, the two of which also built a large portion of the roundup cages that are actually travelling on the UK fair circuit at the moment, or at least they were until the third lockdown came along. So I'm sure most of you know the type of ride, the roundup cages, where the cage spins round really fast and the arm tilts up like this on a hydraulic ram. So yeah, they do make a large portion of those that are on the UK fairgrounds scene at the moment. And with regards to the Super Trooper, they made quite a few of them in the 80s. So for those who haven't seen the Super Trooper in action, here it is, which is Kmgx one at Nottingham Goose Fair in 2019. Now, it's basically a more updated version of the Super Trooper, so instead of being on an arm that tilts up similar to how it does on the roundup cages, it actually travels up on a tower and will tilt either both ways. So yeah. So roll on to a few decades on from the 1980s. In 2016, the Windsor-based company PWS Rides actually bought the rights to the design from David Ward. So PWS are a very reputable company in the UK. They make quite a lot, well, I'd say most of the scissors and twists that are currently on the UK fairground scene at the moment. So here are a few photos of different twists from different generations made by the Windsor-based company. So they bought the rights to the Super Trooper design in 2016. They started production on the prototype in 2018, and that prototype was then later on finished in 2019. It would then go out to be travelled by James Danter, not bought by James Danter, but only hired out by the company. As of now, recording this video, there are currently 3 Super Troopers that have been made. So we've got the one that was on loan, we've got Michael Gray's, David Irvin's, which I will get to later in a bit, and the 4th one, in theory, well this actually hasn't been confirmed yet, but it should be James Danter who should be getting the 4th one, unless something has changed. I might update that in a later video. So the Super Trooper that is at Alton Towers on the old Ripsaw spot is actually the 3rd one built by PWS and is owned by London-based showman David Irvin. So David usually travels with George Irvin around the London area, and the ride actually made its debut at London Stratford Olympic Park not long after the ride was finished manufactured. So this basically means that Alton Towers haven't actually bought the ride, it's being hired out by David, and they're kind of paying something like higher costs towards David, because with the situation of fun fairs, most notably in London Open, because of how hard the capital was hit, I can understand why this kind of thing is happening. Not just because of the UK lockdowns, but also because of decisions made by councils and local authorities. Some fun fairs haven't been able to open at all during 2020. Now, with regards to why else this ride could be here, from what I've been hearing, it could be due to crowd control, basically to avoid certain areas of the park getting crowded and to spread them out onto different attractions and more temporary attractions based from the information that I've got. And also, I'm not confirming this, but there is another rumour that a waltzer, not waltzers, because there is no plural to an individual waltzer, and I'm sorry, but something like that just gets me worked up and annoyed really easily. So a waltzer and a dodgems are rumoured to be having a place at the park. This hasn't been confirmed, and if it does happen, it hasn't been confirmed exactly whose dodgems will be going. So it might be Irvin's, might be James, might be George Irvin, or could be from a different showman or a different company. Two things I'm curious about this ride being at the park is it will be interesting to see how well something like this does at the park, considering these things aren't common at permanent theme parks. So if this ride actually does well, maybe Alton Towers could be considering getting a permanent version of the ride. Now, as far as I'm aware, PWS Rides hasn't actually built a permanent theme park model of one of their rides yet, but if they were to build a permanent park model of the Super Trooper, they would without a doubt do a fantastic job at it. And knowing the company's reputation, they would also make it in a way with regards to the theming, the colour scheme and the paints that would blend in perfectly with the Forbidden Family theme in the park. The other thing I'm curious about the ride is how the onboard camera policy will play out, because usually on travelling rides, showmen are actually kind enough to let people get on rides with GoPros and other secure equipment, but not at Merlin Parks, as I'm sure most of you already know about. So because of it may likely be staff of Alton Towers left in charge of the ride, chances are that I think getting an on-ride of the Super Trooper will be very difficult, like on a lot of the other attractions. The other thing about having this ride in the park is I think this is a golden opportunity for Alton Towers to see what could potentially fill the former Ripsaw spot. So maybe they could get a permanent Super Trooper, or maybe they could trial out different rides and get something else. There is one ride I would really love to see in the former Ripsaw spot, and that is a Kmgx Drive. So this is the ride in question, and there's only been 2 currently made as of recording this video, and they've yet to build a park model of the ride, but they can build a park model of the ride, and they can also double the capacity from 16 to 32, because let's face it, a 16 capacity ride of that kind, especially at Alton Towers, isn't going to do well in terms of the queue system and how many people will want to get on it. So yeah, that would be a good idea to double the capacity. And with that, there's not really much else I have to say for this video. So yeah, I'm actually looking forward to seeing how well this ride will do at the park. And if there's more information on temporary attractions coming into the park, maybe I might make a video on that to clear further things up regarding whose rides they are and the originality and where they came from, pretty much. So with that, I'm going to leave this video right there. So thank you for watching. I hope this has cleared some things up, and see you next time. Goodbye.